Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to Wrestling with Power. Mosley here, joined as always by the incomparable Slick Vic. We're back. We took a little sabbatical. We had some horseman business to deal with, but we're back once again. We're here. How are you doing, Slick Vic?
Oh, swell. Just swell. How are you?
Just swell?
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
doing good, man. I'm doing okay. Got a little something. I got a little something in my throat. Excuse me, Slick Vic. I'm not sick, I promise. Anyway, like I said, we took a little break last week, a little unscheduled break because, well, like I said, we had horseman business to deal with. But I'll tell you another thing, Slick Vic. It's not been fun lately watching WWE, and we've sort of aired our grievances over the past several weeks as far as that's concerned. I know that it's a common thing these days that WWE just it's not delivering. It's just not delivering. They're overcharging everybody to be at these shows. They're charging an arm and a leg to watch this stuff. Heads up, I didn't even watch Saturday night's main event. I thought they were done with Peacock. And I was like, well, maybe it's on something else. And we were actually gone over the weekend on Saturday. We were out. Took the kids to like a jump place where they got a lot of trampolines and stuff and jungle gyms and all that crap. And so they had a good time. When we got back, I was like, there's some wrestling on tonight. And then I just thought, I don't give a shit. I started to be like looking up what it's on, and I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I don't. And then I realized after the fact, I went and looked up the card and looked up what matches were on Saturday night's main event and the results of those matches. And I'm like, wow, this show sucked. I didn't miss anything. Did you happen to watch Saturday night's main event, Slick Vic?
I did. Yes, I did. Would you like Would you like my quick rundown?
You can give us some insight on Saturday night's main event. Well, actually, we'll try to do this in order a little bit if we can. I think
Okay.
Saturday night's main event fell on what day was that?
That was Saturday, May 23rd.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So 15, 22, 23, 15, 18, 22. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it. Fuck it. You know what? Fuck it. We're flying by the seat of our pants. We are in uncharted waters, ladies and gentlemen. This episode is uncharted waters because Slick Vic and I, we're flipping the script. We're going to try to cut down on all of the boring WWE weekly show stuff. We're still going to talk about it, and we're going to tell you what happened, but it's going to be more highlights than reviews of everything. At least that's the plan. But we're just sort of winging it. We don't have a format for this. So, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about Saturday night's main event. Because, like I said, I didn't watch this thing. And I think, to me, it really seems like they're fulfilling some kind of contractual obligation that they have to Peacock, where they're just like, okay, well, let's just do this. And we've got so many of these that we have to do. And they're throwing all this stuff out there. And it's meaningless matches with meaningless results. What's the point? I don't even understand. But Slick Vic watched it, so Slick Vic, enlighten us a little bit here, pal.
You mentioned earlier about flipping the script. You remember hearing reports back in the day of like Vince McMahon tearing up scripts like hours before Raw? That's basically what we're doing. That's basically what we got going on tonight.
Yeah.
All right. So Saturday night's main event. There's only 5 matches. I'm just going to give you a quick little rundown, really. I got no notes. I'm just saying, but I do remember watching it. I did watch it. So yeah, it opened with a 6-women tag match between Jade, Cargill, Michin, and B-Fab versus Rhea Ripley, Charlotte, and Alexa Bliss. This was all about just building towards the title match between Jade and Jade and Rhea Ripley. They'll eventually have a Jade and Charlotte match. They tease that as well. But Jade won by pinning Rhea Ripley, which makes sense because try to get some heat on the match going. So that's what happened there. We had a match with yeah, it was clean. She hit her with Jaded 1, 2, 3.
Wow. Okay. Color me surprised.
So what was not clean was the finish to the next match, which was Sol Ruca and Becky Lynch. This match was really short, and it ended with a botched Soul Snatcher where basically Becky threw the referee in the way to get the Soul Snatcher, but the Soul Snatcher was botched completely.
I've seen a clip of that. Yeah.
But later on that night, Nick Aldis announced a rematch for Italy this time. And if I'm not mistaken, that was not for the IC title. The belt was not on the line that night, but whatever. Moving on.
What's the problem exactly? If we can look at this for just a second. Sol Ruca in NXT was so smooth. I remember us watching videos of her, and you wanted to show me her finishing move, and I seen it, and I was like, wow, you showed me this compilation. I hadn't seen her because I don't really watch NXT. Since she's came to the main roster, she's botched 2 Soul Snatchers.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man? What's the problem?
I don't know, man. Maybe it's just nerves.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
Well, we'll see. Well, she's going to go fly over to Italy and hit another one, I think.
Yeah. I was just showing you my tiny beer.
Oh, wow. Okay. Look at you, man. Looking like Andre the Giant holding a beer can.
Yeah, I look like Andre the Giant holding this. That's what I told somebody the other day. Versus a normal size beer, you know what I mean? So.
All right. So Penta beat Ethan Page. This was the match, the best match of the night. I'm not saying go out of your way to watch it, but it was the best match of the night. Penta went over with the Mexican Destroyer. And then we had Paige and Brie Bella beat the Irresistible Forces in a forgettable tag match. They're just gonna drag this out until Nikki gets healthy, I guess. Although the finish was kind of funny, where like Paige rolled up Nia Jax, and Brie's using her foot to plants her foot on Paige's ass to get more leverage. And then we have the main event, which is the Vision versus the Street Profits. And the big news coming out of this match, which I'm sure we'll talk about I guess we'll just talk about it now, is Logan Paul got hurt. Logan Paul tore a tricep in this match. Nonetheless, the Vision still went over with the help of some brass knuckles. Braun Breaker got involved. Oh yeah, Braun Breaker took his nasty fall. This one you should watch. Go look it up sometime later. He was charging in to do that, run around the ring spear onto the Street Profits. Montez Ford leapfrogs him, and Angelo Dawkins just shoulder charges Braun Breaker, and Braun Breaker went flying. He went over the top of the announcer's table, but he looked like he got a lot of height. Let's put it that way. That one's worth 5 seconds of your time to go watch their replay. And that was Saturday night's main event. So build up to a women's title match. Or build up to the women's intercontinental match. Filler for the women's tag team match. Unfortunate news for the Vision, and Penta's still great. Ethan Page has got a bright future as well.
Yeah. I don't know. I agree with everything you're saying. I can't say that Penta's not great. I can't say that Ethan Page doesn't have a bright future. But I'm bored of it. Penta is great. But what has happened with him is the one thing I was afraid of would happen with him, where if you've seen him once on Raw, you've seen him on just about every single show that he's going to be on. His matches are awesome. He does some really cool, crazy things, But once you've seen them a couple of times, and then the third time you're like, oh, yay. And then the fourth time you're like, oh, okay. And then the fifth time you're just like, I think I'll go get a beer. Penta match is coming on. I love Penta, but this is a recurring theme with a lot of this stuff is that I'm just bored of a lot of these storylines. They're dragging them out. The vision, unfortunately, and I'll be honest, I think Logan Paul is, he has, and it could be because of the way things are set up, where we just don't have a lot of interesting things going on, but I think he's definitely like top 5 best in the entire company right now. I'll say that. He's really great in the ring. He's been there every night for the last like couple of months or whatever. He's been putting in time into this vision thing, and then he gets hurt. The curse of the vision strikes again. Everybody in the vision, aside from Austin Theory, has been hurt, and Austin Theory was like the last guy to get added to it. So that he wasn't even, Logan Paul. Well, was Logan Paul or Austin Theory first? I don't know. But either way.
It was Austin Theory. Austin Theory is the newest member.
Okay.
Part of that whole masked man nonsense.
Yeah, Seth Rollins started the thing. Now he's not even in it. He got hurt. It's just like anything that they got going good that I'm interested in, something always fucking happens. I was thinking about this earlier, man. What happened to Natty? Natty was in that thing with Maxine Dupree, where she was a badass, and all of a sudden, just before WrestleMania, that goes away, and we haven't seen her since.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great way to position Natty, and they completely dropped the ball for what? For another Ethan Page, Penta, Javon Evans, Rusev, Intercontinental title scramble for another weekend, I'm sorry, I'm ranting a little bit. It's just been frustrating, Slick Vic, past couple of weeks. I've realized I never did get that VPN either. That's probably why I didn't watch Saturday night's main event. You got the VPN. Did they put that on Netflix?
YouTube.
It was on YouTube? Premium or free?
Free. Well,
wait a second.
Yeah, pretty sure it's free.
Okay, so I thought that Peacock was the only one that had Saturday night's main event.
No. Internationally, it's on YouTube.
Oh, internationally, it's on YouTube. Okay. VPN.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I still haven't got that VPN. I need to get it, man. I got to make some changes. Changes. But all right, man. Thanks for going over Saturday night's main event. Like I said, I didn't watch it. I'm not sad that I didn't watch it. I do want to see Braun Breaker go flying. That sounds fun. But other than that, what did we miss? Did we miss anything, really?
It's all build up. This is filler.
All right. Well, that was Saturday night's main event. By the way, no picks for Saturday night's main event, no gigawatt ratings. I think that it's safe to say that we can probably cut Saturday night's main event from the picks and the gigawatt ratings going forward. I don't think that the matches matter. They're not. It's kind of a moot.
We don't have a Saturday night's main event for a couple months anyways.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, I wonder what'll happen next.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, there's not a lot of buildup going into these PLEs or Saturday night's main events, which makes the crystal ball difficult to absorb any kind of energy to, provide to me to make these picks. So,
yeah.
So, my choices for Clash in Italy are, might need to.
Are you struggling?
Charge that crystal ball some more, man. Need to put some more rupees into it or something. Go find the wizard and put some more rupees into his pocket.
You're gonna have to find them, because I think Clash in Italy is literally this Sunday.
It is.
And we got to get your picks tonight, brother. I'll give you the rest of the show to work on them. We'll main event tonight's episode with Slick Vic's picks for Clash in Italy. That should give you in the crystal ball a little time to recharge. But why don't we talk about some recent news, Slick Vic, moving on from that Saturday night's main event highlight reel that you gave us there. Let's talk some recent news. All right. Recent news in the world of professional wrestling. Slick Vic, Foley is all elite. This is probably the most recent of the recent news that I have today. Just a few days ago, Mick Foley announced that he was joining AEW. He made his debut at Double or Nothing, where he had sort of a promo with MJF. And it's been making its rounds. There's some buzz around this. What do you think about now? You remember that Foley had pretty much written off the WWE however many months ago because he is not happy with WWE's association with the current administration, Donald Trump, all that. They're buddy. So he's like, I can't be associated with this any longer. And he basically cut ties with WWE.
Yeah.
But Mick Foley really hasn't been involved in wrestling in years. And even when he was the last time we saw him, I think, what was he doing? He was introducing the 24/7 title or introducing the Universal title. Like, he's not really done a whole lot in terms of the WWE anyway in recent years. So, he's got his own thing going on, whether he's still doing his stand-up, writing more books, whatever it is that Mick Foley does these days. I'm sure he doesn't really need the money for anything. But it's interesting to me that he would join AEW. I can't really figure out a reason why he would want to do that. Personally, it to me initially comes off as a shot at WWE. But is Mick Foley that type of guy? I don't know. I don't know him as that type of guy. Have you heard about this, Slick Vic?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I did see the clip with MJF, but to answer your question, I don't think Foley is that petty to just
right.
Just join AEW to spite WWE. I think he sees it as an opportunity to contribute. So I did watch that promo with MJF, and it was okay. I mean, Foley's great. Foley's always been great, especially on the mic. But my interest is not that high.
Yeah.
Foley's great for an appearance here and there, but I did not really care that much.
I'm kind of with you. I don't think that this is going to be a difference maker. From what I read, Mick Foley signed on to be part of an announce team or part of a commentating team alongside, I believe it's Renee, who does one of the shows that they have over there. So I think it's going to be he's going to be joining her on this commentating / announce role, which is fine, which is good. Foley can talk, but you have him in this segment with MJF, top star in their company. You got to wonder. I don't think he's going to have a match. Maybe we'll see him take a punch, take a bump. I don't know. I don't even know if he should take a bump, honestly. Maybe he'll knock somebody out or
slap the mandible claw on somebody.
Yeah, put the mandible claw, put Mr. Sacco back on him. Something like that I could see happening. But at the end of the day, this, like I said, this has created buzz. But this is not going to do anything significant for AEW's numbers or ratings, whatever you want to call them, demographic. I don't think people are going to all of a sudden be tuning into AEW just because Mick Foley showed up. How well did it work out for TNA back in the day? They had Foley. At the same time, they had Ric Flair and Hogan and Kevin Nash and Scott Hall and Scott Steiner.
Yeah.
They had a stacked roster of legends. And I think it may have made a little bit of a difference in their ratings, but not anything significant. And AEW has definitely got a bigger reach than TNA had, but yeah, I mean, if Foley's happy, look, I've met Foley before. I don't claim to know him personally, but he seemed like a nice guy, and he's always seemed like a nice guy, even when we're seeing him, just doing his thing. So yeah, props to him. He's back in wrestling. Obviously, he wasn't going to come back to WWE, but it's interesting. It's an interesting turn of events. I just don't think it's going to matter in the overall scheme of things, and that kind of sucks. Even though I'm not an AEW fan, I wish something like this mattered more, because then it means that what I actually watch on a regular basis would get better. It's going to have zero impact on what the WWE is doing. So,
Bang, bang.
ooh, have mercy. On to more news. Have a nice day. What do you call Paul Bear?
Uncle Paul.
Bear. Uncle Paul! He's pulling his hair out.
He's like rocking with the urn.
Uncle Paul.
See, we like McFoley.
I love McFoley.
We're not shitting on him here. We like McFoley.
No, we're not shitting on him at all. I just don't understand his motive. If it's just to get paid, like if it's just to contribute, like you said, Slick Vic, which could very well be the case, and he's got his problems with WWE, so he's not going to go there to contribute. And it's interesting to a wrestling fan. I just don't think it's going to have a huge impact. Maybe for a cheap pop.
Right here in New York City.
Yeah.
Or I think they were in Queens, I believe.
Yeah, they can't get MSG. They're not allowed to get MSG, I don't believe. In other news, Slick Vic, Ludwig Kaiser got arrested. Did we talk about this? No, we didn't, because we haven't been here in 2 weeks. Ludwig Kaiser gets arrested. So the story is that Ludwig Kaiser was in an elevator with his girlfriend, and they were making out and getting pretty hot and heavy, and some dude that was in the elevator with him got pissed off, said some things. It's questionable at this point what he actually said, but there are two sides to every story, and one side of that story came out that he said some pretty unfavorable things about this woman, something about calling ice on her, and Ludwig Kaiser whooped his ass, and then he got arrested. Slick Vic, your thoughts?
Man, I try to put myself in that position. If I was in that elevator and there was two people next to me making out passionately, I wouldn't say anything. I probably wouldn't even look in their direction. But
I wouldn't say shit to him.
Yeah, that's a really unfortunate situation, man. But you can't go around just punching a guy for making a comment like that. Or he probably did more than punch him.
depending on the type of comment, you absolutely can. If you're defending your better half, you throw some bones. That's what you got to do. But like I said, it's not one side. I believe the side that he said some pretty, borderline, I guess, would you call him racist? I don't know. I think that she's like Latina or something, and he said he would call ice on her. So yeah, I guess that is kind of racist. But the other side of it, I think what the guy who got his ass kicked said was that he had said to Ludwig Kaiser, "Please, sir, can you stop doing that?" Like a complete 180 from the other side of the story that came out of him being just a complete asshole.
Now, was there any reports of them being under the influence of any libations?
Oh, I'm sure there were.
Somehow I'm guessing, he just snapped and started throwing fists.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah.
So, I mean, he gets arrested, and
it came at a poor timing. That's the thing. It's such a bad timing because he's on a very hot streak right now with the El Grande Americano stuff happening in AAA.
Yes.
So that's the word. That's the worst part. Like I hope he doesn't get punished for this. I hope they don't. He's not gonna get taken off TV or anything, or made to look foolish. So yeah,
I think it would be poor policy for WWE to punish him for this. If the story comes out, if what I'm hearing is true and what I believe, I think it would be in poor policy for the WWE. If he just snapped and whooped the guy's ass for no reason, then yeah, he deserves to be punished. But that's where it's a very fine line. Like what was actually said, what caused this to happen. You can still get in trouble for beating the shit out of somebody, even if no matter what they say in this day and age. But
that's what I was getting at earlier.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that it doesn't make it right. Like, you do it knowing that you're probably going to get in trouble for it. You do it anyway because it's the right thing to do.
This was a crime of passion.
Yeah. He's seen lust in their eyes. No, but I mean, if I was in an elevator and two people were banging in the corner, I probably wouldn't say anything. I'd just be like, okay, this is wild. What the, I don't know why the guy was so offended. That's my take. All right, and my last bit of news, Slick Vic here, it has to do with the WWE merger trial. Have you heard about the WWE merger trial?
No, I haven't. Please tell me about it.
All right, so this came out just today. Vince McMahon, Ari Emanuel, Nick Khan, Paul Levesque, among witnesses set to testify in WWE merger trial. This is coming from Brandon Thurston on postwrestling.com. So, there is an ongoing trial. There's an ongoing dispute that pertains to the merger of WWE and Endeavor, who owned UFC, into TKO. There's a problem with this. Well, I'll just read it to you here. As I mentioned, what the news that came out today was that those individuals are set to appear and testify. The lawsuit, let me see. The lawsuit alleges that McMahon orchestrated the TKO deal in 2023 to save his own personal standing within the company that he had built over decades, after a wave of sexual misconduct allegations became public in 2022. The plaintiffs in the merger case claim McMahon only trusted that Emanuel and UFC owner Endeavor would allow McMahon to stay on after a deal. Other bidders, the plaintiffs say, weren't allowed to have a fair shot at buying, and therefore, WWE shareholders were shortchanged. Shareholders could be awarded millions, potentially hundreds of millions, if they prevail. So, in layman's terms, the merger was sort of a backwards dealing that happened where part of the deal was that McMahon would get to stay on the board, if the merger happened. That was part of the deal. And that shareholders, other potential buyers of WWE didn't get a fair shot because they had already pretty much decided this is what we're going to do. When they put the company up for sale, the merger was already worked out. So shareholders didn't get a fair shot at they essentially, the deal was made, and because it's a public company and there are shareholders, the shareholders potentially lost out on a significant amount of money in this sale, in the way that they orchestrated everything. And it was just something that you don't do, apparently. I'm not real Wall Street savvy, but there was they're taking them to court over it, Slick Vic. I don't know what else to say.
I don't have much to add to this story.
I mean, it's all of these individuals. I think the point of what came out today was that all of these individuals are going to be present to testify in this case. And if the WWE loses, apparently Vince has his own legal team, but then the other guys presumably will be represented by the company themselves. You know, this could be very bad if WWE doesn't win this, because they're going to lose a lot of money. And we already know that WWE's been cutting people left and right to save money. They've not been selling as many tickets because their ticket prices are too high. They didn't do as good of a WrestleMania as they could have done for multiple reasons. Ticket prices going back to Las Vegas, et cetera, et cetera. And now they could be losing hundreds of millions of dollars in this lawsuit deal. So I honestly didn't even know about this before I read this earlier today. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. This is bigwig stuff. This is above my pay grade. But it's still interesting, to say the least. Slick Vic has 0% to add to this particular discussion. So you don't know, Vic, do you know anything about the stock market?
Yeah.
I don't. See, I don't. I don't know how it works. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. Honestly, I don't know.
Well, that's a discussion for another time.
We'll have to talk about that off record. We might get thrown in court for talking about it on Wrestling with Power here. But that is the news, ladies and gentlemen, the breaking news as we segue into SmackDown. Now, we missed last week, and again, we're going to quickly get through the weekly WWE shows, but we are going to be talking about SmackDown from last week, Raw from last week, and then SmackDown and Raw from this week. And then we'll move on to some other fun stuff. So, Slick Vic, take it away.
All right. SmackDown from the 22nd of May in Lexington, Kentucky. How far?
I think this would have been the 15th, Slick Vic.
Are we talking about last week's SmackDown?
Talking about last week's and this week's.
Oh, okay then. Let me.
Do you have anything for last week's?
I do.
Okay.
For the 15th, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, we skipped last week. We got to bring people up to speed. You could just breeze through it, no big deal. Just kind of catch us up. What happened? What did we miss last week on SmackDown?
All right. So Trick Williams and The Miz had a match. You know, they were in Columbia, South Carolina, which is Trick's hometown. So he came out, cut a very lengthy promo, putting over the town, and he was really over. And then The Miz came. They have a match. Trick goes over. It's a feel-good moment. Let's see. Carmelo Hayes and Ricky Saints are feuding still. They're having some tense conflict brewing. Sami Zayn tells Nick Aldis he wants another match for the U.S. title. Sami has to earn it, though, so Sami snaps. Rey Fenix tries to calm him down, but that doesn't work, so I'm sure they're going to have a match soon. The women's tag team champions, Brie, Bella, and Paige, faced Kiana, James, and Julia. So, you know, as we know that Brie and Paige have a match scheduled for Saturday night's main event, they weren't going to lose this match. And that's exactly how it went down. But Julia and Kiana are on the cusp of a breakup now. Very close. All right. Cody Rhodes comes out and he starts throwing furniture into the ring. I don't know if you remember that. Like he did a build your own contract signing. That was fun, actually. That was actually pretty creative on his part, especially the one part where like one of the chairs lands in the ring the same time pyro goes off. Good stuff. So you know, he wants Gunther to sign the contract so they can have the match. Gunther's like, you know, I want you to ask nicely. Cody does actually say please, but then Royce Keys comes out and he goes to sign the contract, but before he can, Gunther stops him and they're fighting over who gets to sign the contract. And then Nick Aldis comes and makes the match for the main event where the winner between Gunther and Royce will face Cody. Ricky Saints versus Carmelo Hayes happens, and I was surprised. I thought Carmelo Hayes was going to lose because I thought Ricky's the shiny new toy. They're gonna put him over, but no. Carmelo Hayes went over in a pretty decent match. I'm still not feeling Ricky Saints. I don't know about you. I'll get your thoughts on him when we go over this show. When we get your part of this review. And Danhausen's in the back, still in his laboratory. He says he needs something bigger and better, and messes around with his old computer. I love it. He's got like a 90s computer, the big ass monitor. Good stuff. Priest and Tama Tonga have a match. You know, lately I haven't had much to say about any of Priest or Truth's matches because they're just kind of there. And I don't hate Priest at all. I actually think he's pretty damn good, and I like Tama Tonga too. But this was more just long, boring buildup for something I'm not really that interested in. And Damien goes over with the South of Heaven. All right, Sammy's in the back, still venting, and he's doing it to the camera pans back, and there's Johnny Gargano. That's funny. All right, so Charlotte and Alexa versus B-Fab and Michin. This was once again mostly well, I should say the heels got a lot of their shit in, but this is the Charlotte Flair show. She gets the show off. And then the match ends with a DQ after Jade interferes, and a future match between Jade and Charlotte is teased, as I mentioned earlier. Fatal Influence are still a looming presence. All right. Solo Sikoa is still trying to recruit Royce Keys, which was not going to happen. And then we got the main event. We got Gunther versus Royce Keys. All right, easily the best match of the night. Good back and forth action. Wade called Gunther a Terminator-like Austrian.
What?
A Terminator-like Austrian. Does that, do you know any other Terminator-like Austrians? I'll be back.
Yeah, but that's what it is. Like, my initial thought was like, are there any other Terminators that aren't Austrian?
All right, so yeah, this was a pretty good match. Some good back and forth action, as I mentioned. Gunther's chops and Keys selling them was pretty good too. Like he would sell it and paint for a second, but he'd come back. Good stuff. Good facials. But Cody, I should say Gunther wins with the distraction from Solo to get the win. And our main event now it's not going to be our main event. Now it's going to be our opening match. I just found that out, I think, today, that the opening match for Clash in Italy will be Gunther versus Cody. That is SmackDown, my friend. Do you have anything you would like to say about the entirety of SmackDown?
Well, and that ending piece there where you said the match at Clash will be Gunther and Cody for the WWE title. The other match that they're giving away for free, apparently, is the WWE Women's title.
Yes.
So, questionable tactics by WWE/TKO these days. Carmelo and Ricky Saints. It's not that I'm totally sold on Ricky Saints, but I mentioned before how when I went to the AEW show, he stood out to me. I'm willing to let that play out. If we're comparing here, and I know you're going to think this is a ridiculous comparison, I'm as interested in Ricky Saints right now as I am Ethan Page. And I feel like that's sort of a fair comparison on the totem pole.
Yeah.
They're both mid-carders. They're both kind of one's in the U.S. title, Intercontinental title, whatever. I think they're sort of in the same place. Getting on the main roster around the same time. So, and I understand that Ethan Page is a lot better at like promos and crap like that, but whatever. That's how I feel about it. So, Priest and Tama Tonga, not much thoughts. I'm fucking so over Damian Priest. He's so bland to me now. He needs a complete rehaul, I feel like, as does a lot of people. And I've talked before that, Tama, I'm sold on Tama. I can't wait to see what he does once he breaks out on his own. I think he's going to be good. Hopefully they don't ruin that. Danhausen with his science project that he's working on. What do you think that could be, Slick Vic? There's a humanoid being under that tarp or whatever he's got going on in there.
I don't know. I mean, there was a humanoid tarp. Did I miss that? It's been a while. There's been a lot of libations since then.
It might have been that week. It might have been this past week that I seen it, but there was someone under a tarp at some point or another. He said he needed something bigger and better. We're going to get a giant Danhausen. We had a small Danhausen. Maybe we'll get a giant Danhausen. That's about all I'm Frankenhausen. That's wonderful. I bet you're right about that. Royce Keys coming out to almost sign the contract in the Cody and Gunther feud is odd because Royce Keys was put in dark matches so that he could sort of get his feet wet in the WWE system, and now they're pushing him into the main event storyline on SmackDown. Doesn't seem right to me. I think that Royce Keys could be a viable tag team champion. He could be a very viable United States champion. But they are so wrapped up in the Carmelo Hayeses and everything that's going on with Ricky. I don't know. I think that he could be a very believable United States champion. I don't like that he's here in the main event thing, but he gets his shot and he gets his main event against Gunther. He loses. We knew that was going to happen. On to the next one. So again, SmackDown was okay. It wasn't great. Nothing. It may have been better than Raw. I don't know. These days, everything just sort of runs together. So, I thought it was okay. You like SmackDown that week?
Well, I was entertained by Trick Williams. I still find him pretty entertaining. Danhausen's always good for a laugh. But and let's see. I didn't mind Royce Keys being in the main event. It added a little bit of it helped elevate him a bit because before this he was just fighting job guys, but now here he is, bam, right in the main event for a number one contendership match. It made him a little important. So if you're trying to make this guy serious and you want us to take him seriously, then put him in the main event. I'm not saying he's going to stay there, but
fair enough. Yeah. I would like to see him versus Trick. I would love to see Royce versus Trick. I think that'd be great.
Okay.
But that was SmackDown. So let's talk about Raw on very briefly on May the 18th, 2026.
Can we do a pause for the cause?
We can definitely do a pause for the cause. Yes. You got to take another shit?
No. What do you mean another one?
How do you have anything left? All right.
This will be quick.
All right.
And no, I'm not doing I'm not taking a shit.
We're back from that pause for the cause, and we're talking about Monday Night Raw. This is Monday Night Raw from last week. Let me pull up my notes again here, Slick Vic. 5/18/26. I didn't catch where they were, but the show opened with Charlotte, North Carolina.
Greensboro.
Greensboro. Why do you woo at me then? Is it?
It's still Flair country.
Oh man, anywhere in Flair. Okay.
Anywhere North Carolina's got to be Flair country, right?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure when
the first thing I think of is Charlotte.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure when Charlotte Flair came out, they referenced Flair country. If she was even on the card, I don't even remember now. Sorry, proceed.
All right. So, 5/18/26. Show opens. The Usos and Roman Reigns basically beats the shit out of Jacob Fatu. So this thing's still going. We talked about how I think they rushed the match, but that they'll probably still keep playing into it after the fact. So it's okay. I'm kind of okay with it now. It's one of the bigger stories going on. Fine. But the Usos beat down Jacob Fatu. Then Roman comes out, beats him down. As they're leaving, Jacob grabs the mic and challenges Roman to tribal combat at Clash in Italy, and he accepts. After this, we get a segment where Sol Ruca calls out Becky Lynch to the ring and challenges her to a match, but Becky says no. She tells Sol Ruca to think long and hard about her challenge, and if she still wants to face her, then she'll do so at Saturday night's main event. I get building to Saturday night's main event here, but there are fans here that were made to believe they were getting a match only to have it taken away, and it just feels in bad taste these days, considering how high ticket prices are. It really kind of made you feel like they were going to do something, and they just didn't. So, poor policy. Going forward from this, we have a segment where Braun Breaker is asking Paul Heyman to make the match tonight against Seth Rollins, but Heyman instead says Seth will face Austin Theory. Breaker asks Heyman, "What are you doing?" And Paul tells him that now he'll know where Seth is and that his hands will be full, basically telling him to interfere in the match, I think. I thought this was stupid. We get a match next, El Grande Americano and with Los Americanos versus OG El Grande and Los Hermanos Americanos. This whole thing is way past stale. I don't care about any of these people, and fuck this match. But anyway, El Grande Americano and Los Americanos won that one. Another backstage segment, we see LA Knights talking to the Usos like they can't find something else for LA Knight to do. I think this was kind of funny, though, because LA Knight got Jey Uso to corpse. He got him to laugh. He called the Ula Falafa or something like that, and it made Jey crack up, so that was good. Then we have a pre-recorded interview with Michael Cole and Ethan Page, where Page proves his chops here. I mean, he can cut a flawless promo, even when it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Page says he will rename the IC title after himself when he wins at Saturday night's main event. Okay. So, Slick Vic, I'm going to pause right there before I move on to the rest of Raw and get your thoughts on what we've discussed so far, if you have any.
Well, I think they did a decent job with Jacob Fatu at the beginning and make him look strong going into the match. The Tongan Death Grip is, it's the, the finishing, it's the final move, the finishing move, whatever you want to call it. Tribal combat. Maybe one day we'll talk about Mortal Kombat. I think this was bad. Yeah. Seth's promo was all right, but get on with it. Sol Ruca saying she's leaving, and then Becky's reaction was hilarious. The in-ring stuff with Becky's always funny. Heyman trying to convince Braun Breaker to not have a match with Seth. I mean, I see where you're coming from, but I think Heyman, Heyman comes off as a great master manipulator. The trios match, just mindless 6-man match, and I didn't care. Now we got 6 Americanos. Whatever.
It's silly. So many people were released recently, and this is what we're fed. Instead of...
Yeah.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I have a note here saying about I just have a DoorDash. Because all the frickin' DoorDash ads you're beating over the head with. I don't know if you caught on to any of that.
I thought you meant you had a DoorDash knocking at your door. Maybe bringing you some libations.
I'm pretty sure TKO wants me to because of all the DoorDash, shit we see throughout the night. And the Usos and LA Knight feel old and stale. So, yeah. Ethan Page, that stuff was good. It was well produced. Ethan's hilarious. Ethan's gimmick works for me. So yeah, that's a plus.
I like how every time that Michael Cole gets stuck in these backstage segments, I think he was in one with Becky Lynch. No, he was in one with AJ Lee not long ago, and Becky Lynch interrupted. And in both situations, he's like, you know what? I'm too fucking old for this. What are you doing? Like, he's just like, gives up. But going forward from that Ethan Page interview, we have a match against Roxanne Perez with Raquel Rodriguez versus Brie Bella and Paige. So Liv basically keeps getting involved in the match until the ref finally catches on and winds up and throws her out, which we always love here at Wrestling with Power. While the ref is distracted, Raquel tosses in one of the belts to Roxanne to use on Brie, but Brie ends up getting a roll-up pin on Roxanne for the win. So your winners, Brie Bella and Paige. Backstage, LA Knight runs into Seth Rollins and tells him he ain't getting his help tonight. Yeah, and then he just leaves. He's got his bags, and he's gone. Then we have probably the biggest segment of the entire week, the Oba Femi Open Challenge, which we all thought was kind of a stupid thing to be doing in the first place, but now we kind of see where it's going. So Oba does his entrance, and he gets to the silhouette part of his entrance, which I love, where he stands in the ring and the light's on behind him, and you see a figure show up and take him down. He posts him up on his shoulders, the lights come up, and it's Brock Lesnar. Brock hits 4 F5s on Oba Femi. Then he can be audibly heard telling him to stay down. That first F5, Brock ripped his pants down the entire crack of his ass. And that's
Deja
it.
vu?
Brock's back. Deja vu. Brock's back ripping jeans in half. And jeans aren't easy to rip. He's ripped his ass out of his jeans multiple times now. Brock's back. All right, so this is big news. We don't understand why Brock's back, but he's back. I don't know if it was this one or the next one, Slick Vic. Let me take a look and check, actually, because I'm not sure. It must have been this Monday Night Raw on the 18th, because, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but Adam Pearce is like asking Paul Heyman, "What's Brock doing here? What's he out there for?" Was that the 18th?
Yeah, same night. Because
Okay.
hey, I signed the retirement papers or whatever.
Yeah, he's like, I had retirement paperwork on Brock Lesnar, and he's like, Brock Lesnar is retired. Here's a contract for a match at Clash in Italy. And I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean?
Yeah.
I don't think it makes sense to anyone, unless it's going to be an unsanctioned, unless I think an easy out would be to say that he retired at WrestleMania, but this is going to be an unsanctioned match where it's not going to be sanctioned by the WWE, so he doesn't have to be under contract. That would make sense to me. Spoiler alert, thus far, that hasn't been the case. So I don't know. But yeah, biggest news coming out of the last week, I think, Brock Lesnar showed back up. Then we have a match, Austin Theory versus Seth Rollins, and Logan Paul is there. He pushes Rollins off the top turnbuckle while the ref's distracted, allowing Theory to hit a stomp, but he only gets 2. Paul then gives Theory the brass knucks, then distracts the ref, but Rollins kicks Theory and takes the brass knucks away. And then Rollins hits the pedigree for the win. So your winner, Seth Rollins. This wasn't a bad match, but it was just filler for me. I didn't much care. But post-match, Logan Paul beats down Rollins, and Angelo Dawkins runs out to try and help. He gets double-teamed by the Vision. Then Montez Ford runs out and takes down Theory and Paul. Braun Breaker runs in and takes out the Street Profits. Rollins gets the jump on Breaker and charges up a stomp, but Logan Paul holds Rollins' foot, allowing Breaker to recover and hit a spear. Pierce and security keep the Vision from crushing Rollins with the steel steps. And that's all I have for that Monday Night Raw. Slick Vic, any thoughts?
All right, so the Brie and Paige versus Roxanne and Raquel match. I wrote, see my SmackDown review, just filler until Nikki comes back. Seth Rollins and LA Knight. This was a little more fresh seeing those two together. As you know, as I mentioned, how stale it was seeing LA Knight with the Usos. But what did LA Knight exactly tell him again? He's got his back later, or he doesn't got his back.
No, he said he doesn't have his help later.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did not anticipate Brock coming back. That was a surprise. That was a legit surprise. Um, and yeah, the match is set for Clash in Italy now. So we'll get to my picks later. But that was a good moment. And like I said, Brock's back and he's tearing jeans.
Tearing ass. I
Hopefully he
mean,
doesn't.
he had his big WrestleMania retirement moment, and they're trying to still say he's retired. Does that make any sense to you, Vic?
No.
It's like, oh yeah, Brock Lesnar, he is retired, but here's a contract for a match. Like, that's not really how it works.
No.
You kind of have to
Well,
be under contract to have a match, unless you sell it as a backstage brawl or like a unsanctioned match, something that is off the books from WWE, or you sell it as that, then it makes sense. They're not doing that. They're just like, and we'll even see a little bit later when we look at this week's Raw, where Brock pretty much reiterates that he's retired, but he's still going to kick Obafemi's ass at Clash in Italy. I don't know.
and as for the main event, I thought the match was okay. I liked how Theory was using Rollins' moves throughout the match. And yeah, that's all I got to say. Decent match. Not a whole
Decent
lot to say.
enough. Decent enough. It'll do the job, I guess. Anyway, like I mentioned earlier, SmackDown and Raw, they're kind of a dredge right now. Not really big, nothing big happening, but that, Brock Lesnar coming out was big news because his retirement was big news. And maybe that's the point. Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to see where it goes. So far, we don't have really any answers. But going forward from this, we get to Friday, May the 22nd, for the next SmackDown. So, Slick Vic, what happened on May the 22nd?
Okay, so we got Rhea Ripley. She comes out. She's hyping up the Clash in Italy match, and then Charlotte and Alexa come out and say, "Hey, we got a match at Saturday night's main event." And then Fatal Influence is still waiting in the wings. And then let's see. Still more drama with Solo Sikoa and the MFTs, as well as Shinsuke Nakamura, because we got a match with Tala Tonga and Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, Tala still looks pretty good. He's still, when I say looks pretty good, I'm like, he still looks like a threat. Match is okay. I mean, it's just more about just building up Tala Tonga as like this beast. But eventually Shinsuke and Tama are gonna, I don't know, they're gonna team up, or they're just gonna make Shinsuke's just gonna keep taunting Tama to quit. All right, so we got Cody Rhodes. He wants Gunther to sign the contract for Clash in Italy. All this. Let's see, some Sami Zayn shenanigans happening here. I'm kind of winging this here. I'm trying to remember going over this, and I'm looking at some of the results on paper here.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. But they do set up a match later on between Cody and Sami Zayn. Tiffany Stratton has an open challenge that's answered by Lash Legend. Then there's Chelsea Green, who's trying to win over Tiffy. Nia Jax is also here to help Lash Legend. But Tiffy goes over at the end. Let's see. Danhausen's doing more stuff in the laboratory. Danhausen is like, he's in the news a lot when it comes to the Knicks. He uncursed the Knicks or something. I don't know if you're following any of that stuff or not, but
I heard about it briefly. Yeah, I heard about it. Like he actually cursed them and then they lost the game or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Danhausen's curses are affecting basketball games. All right, Trick Williams and Little Yachty are they mock the Miz, And Carmelo Hayes comes out, and he wants a match with Trick. And he cut a very passionate promo, and that was good. That was good. I remember that part being pretty damn good and entertaining. And then they do have the match. The match is decent. So, but Trick Williams goes over with the trick shot. Let's see, and why don't you take it away from there, Mr. Mosley? Tell me what have you thought of SmackDown so far?
Well, I'm still interested to see what happens with Shinsuke and Tama. I'm wanting to see where that goes, but at the same time, this is one of 50 other things that the WWE is just dragging along, and they should have pulled the trigger on. That's my problem, I think. Yeah, I mean, there are several issues that I have with WWE these days, but the biggest problem I feel like is that they have these storylines that either go nowhere or they go on for so long that you just stop caring about them. And I don't want that to be this, because Shinsuke is one of the greatest. Tama has tons of potential. I want to see what's going to happen. I don't want them to throw down. I want them to side with each other in some way. But honestly, Slick Vic, beyond that, I didn't really, in the Danhausen segment, and like I said, the Frankenhausen, I didn't get a lot from this SmackDown. I was in quicksand the entire time, my friend. I didn't have a lot of thoughts up until this point.
Okay. All right. Well, we got more stuff with Johnny Gargano and Sami Zayn, which it's good. It's good for a laugh, a quick little belly laugh, so to speak. And then we got Fatal Influence versus Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. Now, when I say Fatal Influence, it's going to be Fallon Henley and Lainey Reed. The Charlotte Flair show. But, Charlotte and Rhea don't like each other either. So there's also that. Maybe they'll do a triple threat match. Charlotte, Jade, and Rhea one day.
Yeah.
Anyways, Charlotte and Rhea go over with natural selection. And then we got another Damian Priest match. Damian Priest for Solo Sikoa. Unfortunately, no, there's just not a lot of heat here. We've talked about this a while. Damian Priest needs a shakeup, and him and R-Truth are, it's typical Vince McMahon era comedy tag team. So
yeah,
that don't work for me, brother.
No, the tag team division, and I'll interrupt for just a second here, man. And I talked about this a little while back. The tag team division needs one set of tag team championships. There aren't enough tag teams. There aren't enough dedicated tag teams to pull off two different tag team titles. There needs to be one tag team championship, and those tag team champions need to be facing the top of the top talent. If you don't have a tag team that is super over that they can put them against and get a couple month run out of it, then just take two main eventers that are in the world title picture normally and put them together and say, we're going to go for the tag titles, and have them lose to the tag team champions. Build up that title. Right now, nobody gives a shit. The Vision is the tag team champions, and one of them's hurt, and that's the biggest story going right now as far as the tag division goes, I think. All due respects to Truth and Priest and what they've accomplished. I'm burnt out on Priest. I never really cared about Truth. Don't care about him now. It's mud to me. It's just mud.
Well, that leads us to our main event. We have Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes. There's Gunther interference as well as a beatdown at the end, but nonetheless, this was a better match. This was a decent match, as you'd expect with these two. I'll give it that. Cody goes over with the Crossroads, and then Gunther, what's it called, comes out and locks in a sleeper hold and poses with the title. Oh, it looked like they had this one bit though where Sammy looked like he was gonna stop the sleeper hold on Gunther, but he decides no, and he leaves. That was
Yeah.
good. That part was cool. Yeah, my review on SmackDown was rather light, but that's all I got this week.
As is going to be expected going forward, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, we're going to try to keep it light on the weekly WWE shows. But nonetheless, solid review, solid highlights there from Slick Vic. And the big news coming out of that main event, Sammy didn't stop Gunther. He didn't help Cody. I think that's one of the biggest heel things that Sammy has done in the last little bit. People are saying he's already turned heel, and I know he's did some heelish things. But this was a clear heel move by Sammy not to save Cody here. I still wish he'd cut his hair, shave that fucking beard, and get him some new attire. Until then, he can kiss my ass. But, good move on Sammy. Makes him a little bit more interesting. All right, so then, Slick Vic, we're going to talk about Raw. We're going to do some Raw highlights from May the 25th. Just yesterday, Monday Night Raw was in Columbus, Ohio. So they go from Lexington, Kentucky in SmackDown on Friday, and they travel north a little bit and get to Columbus. That's where they have Monday Night Raw. We start the show with Paul Heyman. He's in the ring. I've messed myself up here on my notes. Paul Heyman is in the ring. 101, 100. Okay, I don't want to zoom. Okay, Paul Heyman is in the ring to start the show. He says he's there to hype the Brock versus Oba rematch this Sunday at Clash in Italy. And we get a video package, and this is a good one because this is Lesnar talking. You don't hear Lesnar talk a lot, but he's cutting a promo here, and he's trying to explain what he has done after the loss to Femi at WrestleMania. He mentions that after he got beat that bad at WrestleMania, that convincingly, that he decided it was over. I'm done. He says he's still retired, but he's going to have this match with Oba. Again, this doesn't make sense. We don't get any explanation further from that. We go back to Heyman in the ring, who gets interrupted by Oba Femi's entrance. Oba comes out, says he's going to retire Brock for a second time, then he signs his part of the contract. We officially have our match for Clash in Italy. Rematch, WrestleMania rematch, Oba Femi versus Brock Lesnar. After this, we have an Intercontinental Championship match where Penta, the champion, defends against Javon Evans. And if you like high-flying, jumpy stuff, then this was good. These are two of the absolute best in the world at it. I mentioned earlier how, Penta is great, but once you see greatness over and over and over and over and over, you look for something else. So this was a Penta match. This was a Javon Evans match. In other words, it was entertaining, but let's move on. Backstage, Austin Theory and Paul Heyman discuss Logan Paul being injured, and Heyman reveals that he had included in their contract that any member of the Vision can defend the tag team championships. So Theory will now be tag champions with Braun Breaker. I don't know if that officially means that Braun will add the tag team title to his resume or if he will just be a stand-in. But this is going a bit far with the Freebird rule, I feel. It's an easy out for another cursed Vision injury, a legit Vision member being injured. This is just an easy out for him. I thought this was sort of stupid, but to throw it together at the last minute, okay, sure. I would have the old school in me would have probably rather had Logan Paul via satellite say, you know what, I'm going to allow Braun Breaker to defend the title in my name, whatever, et cetera, instead of saying, I had it included in the contract all along. No, that don't work for me, brother. It's kind of lame. After this, we get a match. Lyra, Valkyria, and Bayley defeat Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. Then we get more LA Knight wanting to be involved in the Usos business. This time they're out in the ring. Basically the same stuff we've been getting the past several weeks, with Jimmy telling LA Knight that their business is family business and that he's not invited to the party. Then we get a match of Seth Rollins let me see. You know what? I'm confusing myself here, Slick Vic. Didn't we already? Okay, never mind. I'm sorry. Seth Rollins versus Montez Ford, where Seth Rollins defeated Montez Ford. And this was a pretty good match, too. But, again, this is a thing where they've been sort of talking backstage for the last several weeks, and you wonder what the problem is. And so eventually they have a fight. And they're not really enemies or anything, but I don't know, kind of weak. Post-match, Austin Theory attacks Angelo Dawkins with a chair on the stage. Ford and Rollins agree to cooperate after this backstage. So they had a fight. They aired their grievances. Now they're on the same team. When is Survivor Series again? That's not until way later in the year. It'd be a bit early to be assuming that they're building to Survivor Series here, but maybe. Next up, we have a match. Rey Mysterio versus Rusev. And Rey Mysterio wins. Things fall apart after the match with Ethan Page and Dragon Lee getting involved in the fight. This is more of the same old Intercontinental Championship, merry-go-round that we've had for the past 2 months. It's like the same people fighting over the same thing, and they're always all there together. It can't be one person versus another person and everybody else fucks off. It's got to be everybody involved in the same thing. So, all right, and then a backstage segment with Austin Theory where he's pissed. Now, I note this, Slick Vic. This was actually one of the most interesting things I've seen on Monday Night Raw. Austin Theory's pissed backstage, and he's almost going to get thrown out by Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce has had enough of his shit, and he's going to dismiss him for the rest of the night. But Paul Heyman says, no, I can handle it. Let me take care of things. Then they walk away. And they walk by Alpha Academy. Otis, Akira Tozawa, and Maxine Dupree. And Austin Theory looks at them sideways and then walks off, and Otis says something. He says he can smell something. I don't know if it was dog shit or what, but he said something. And Maxine all of a sudden takes up for Austin Theory, and she's like, no, there's just a lot going on with him right now. And then she's like, I gotta go. The reason I note this, Slick Vic, is because I don't remember how long ago it was, but Austin Theory and Logan Paul were leaving the arena and they were getting into an SUV. Maxine Dupree was clearly seen in the SUV for just a moment. They didn't focus on her. They didn't mention it. They didn't talk about it the following week. None of that. To me, I thought that was just a mistake. Like, this is some kind of SUV that's going to escort multiple superstars at a time to their hotel or wherever they're going. But it was clearly Maxine Dupree, and nobody made a big deal about it. Now she's clearly taken up for Austin Theory, so they're going somewhere with this. And I find this interesting. So, that is pretty much everything that happened on Raw up to the main event, which was the Tribal Combat contract signing between Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu for the World Heavyweight Championship at Clash in Italy. And there's security in the ring. Adam Pearce is in the ring. Everybody's there because they think they're going to throw down. But Roman Reigns is like, he swore a blood oath. He's not going to hit me until we get to Italy. Everything's cool. Leave us. So everybody leaves. And then it's just Roman and Jacob in the ring. And they cut a little bit of a promo back and forth. They've both signed the contract at this point. And then they shake hands and they put their heads together. And that's it. That ends the show. I thought this was really cool, actually, because it wasn't the same old bullshit of them just throwing down and getting into a big brawl. It was like they're really playing out this tribal storyline where it's like family, bloodline respect. There's certain rules that you do not and cannot break, even though we know Jacob Fatu is slapped on the tongue in death grip several times. But they sort of embrace here. It's sort of like a brotherhood thing that, no matter what has been done at this point, no matter what's been said at this point, there's still this embrace and respect for the culture, the heritage, the family, whatever you want to call it. So it's interesting going into Clash in Italy this Sunday. That is Monday Night Raw from May the 25th. Slick Vic. Whew! Your thoughts?
Well, that was much more eloquent than what I've got to say about SmackDown. But I will start with the we got Paul Heyman stuff in the beginning with Obafemi. I thought was great.
Mhm.
The video package with Brock Lesnar was also good. Whenever they do these video packages for Brock, they really do. They get the best of Brock when they do that kind of stuff because Brock's not going to cut a live promo. Usually not. But
Let's
when
do
do
this.
I remember seeing it was like Obafemi's like he's the last time he fought Brock to beat him. This time he's gonna fight Brock to kill him.
To kill him, yeah. I almost noted that too, but
I am gonna kill you.
yeah.
That's my. It's like, I'm gonna kill. Jesus. Jesus. Thank you. But it took 4 F5s to put Oba down.
There were 4 of them. Sorry.
But it's like, is Brock going to win with just 1 F5, or if he wins? I wonder how many F5s it's going to take to keep Oba down. We'll get back to. I'm going to circle back to this. Okay. And Heyman's great. Heyman's talking a lot of trash. When Oba gets in his face, he cowers away. It's classic Paul Heyman stuff. I love it. All right. So Penta versus Javon Evans, best match of the night. These two guys put on a hell of a show. I enjoyed it immensely. Lots of good high flying stuff, as you mentioned too. The last few minutes especially were really exciting because I really thought like, oh wait, is Javon going to go over? He didn't. And good teasing.
He took that nasty spill on the announce table too. I forgot about that.
Oh yes,
where he hit his spine right on the edge of the announce table.
Oof. Yeah,
that could not have. There's no way that could have felt any bit good.
All right. They even have like a they try to show like some sportsmanship at the end, but Javon's like nah, which he apologizes for later on in the night. We find out that Logan Paul's got a torn tricep and will be out indefinitely. How long is that? Maybe till the Royal Rumble? Even longer? We'll see.
The Royal Rumble, that's maybe. Yeah, maybe.
7 months.
I think that would be a safe bet for a good, decent recovery, and then he can be a surprise entrant.
Okay. And Joe Hendry coming back from commercial singing, "Can we fire Logan Paul?" after they mention his injury.
I forgot all about that. Yeah, and then Austin Theory jumps him. That was sort of that played into Adam Pearce wanting to throw him out. That, and then the Angelo Dawkins thing.
Okay, so let's see. And we got the match, the tag match, Bailey and Lyra versus Raquel and Roxanne.
Yeah, the bad thing.
I don't have much to say about this match. Dom and Liv were here. And yeah, moving on.
That's about it. There's Dom and Liv.
Was there any ejections? I don't remember now. Was there any more?
I didn't notate them if there was, so I don't think so.
All right, so the LA Knight and the Usos cut a promo, or was it just Jimmy because Jay was not here tonight? This was all right.
Yeah.
This was decent. This is better than the forgettable stuff they said last week. But how is LA Knight? Where is this going to lead to? Are we having another match? Didn't they just team up at WrestleMania?
Yeah.
And now they're on opposite sides again.
It's silly because LA Knight is constantly in the back. Just it's almost like at this point that he's begging for the Usos' attention because he's constantly getting into promos with them. And it's silly. Like, I don't like this usage of LA Knight at all.
Right. We find out that Rey Mysterio is now the general manager of AAA, and he's going to have a number 1 contenders title match for the Intercontinental title. Let's see. There was some good stuff there with Ethan Page and Rusev. That was funny. Seth Rollins and Montez Ford have that match. It was good. It was a solid match. I thought the Montez looked good. He held his own. I knew Seth was going to go over. I had a feeling there, but match overall was pretty good. All right, so Theory attacks Dawkins after the match. We talked about that, or you talked about that, and he's, it kind of helps Montez Ford and Seth, mend their fence, so to speak. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
All right. Then the Rusev and Rey Mysterio match. It's good to see Rey back doing his stuff, because we see Rey is. Now whenever I see a Rey Mysterio match, I'm kind of like, please don't get hurt, Rey.
Yeah, me too. It's kind of incredible that he's able to do what he does at this age.
Yeah. And Rey wins. Rey goes over. We're gonna have Rey and Penta. That ought to be fun.
Poor Rusev.
Dragon Lee came back at the match to save Rey from some beatdown. Austin Theory gets kicked out, and you mentioned the Theory and Maxine. So is Maxine going to join the Vision?
Yeah, that's what honestly, I wouldn't mind that at all. If she joined the Vision, then they have a female in the Vision, and she'll be getting hurt next. But still, it'd be cool for however long it lasts. They definitely need they need a female in that group. I wouldn't be mad about it.
They announced the King and Queen of the Ring is coming back soon. Was it next week, I think? I don't recall now. And then the contract signing. You know what I remember most about the contract signing? It's Roman Reigns' birthday.
Yeah, they start saying happy birthday.
It's like that kind of like took the attention away. And then they do the little handshake, bowing their heads to each other type thing. So yeah, I did like how what's it called? Roman dismisses everybody. He signed a blood oath. I'm like, he did? When? I want to see this.
I didn't see blood.
Yeah, but overall, I thought Raw was pretty decent this week. I mean, much better than SmackDown. Like I said, the Penta match was good. The Rusev match and Rey was okay. The Seth and Montez Ford match was good. So I thought this was a solid Raw. So
it was a good Raw. It was a good Raw.
I didn't have, yeah. But that concludes the Monday Night Raw review from my side of the fence, my side of the screen, or whatever you want to call it, man.
Side of the border there, Slick Vic. Yep, and that's the past couple of weeks in SmackDown and Raw. We already talked about Saturday night's main event at the top of the show. And I think now, Slick Vic, before we move on to the main event, we want to talk about history. We want to talk about the past. Because we know here on Wrestling with Power that, we love to relive those glory days. We know you guys do too. Everything was so much better in the past. Slick Vic, I've been tossing around this idea, and the listeners can tell me what they think. I'm willing to do it if there's demand for it. I'm thinking about doing a weekly Retro Raw review. Now, not a big extensive review, just a very brief overview, episode to episode each week of what happened from the very beginning of the Attitude Era to the end. I think that would make for a cool segment, and we can talk about it. And I'll tell you what got me thinking about this. I watched something happened. I seen something on Facebook where it was like the Oval IC title debuted on this day, and it was like March something. It was right after WrestleMania 14, 15. What was the rest? Which was the DX rated WrestleMania? Was it 14?
Yes.
With Shawn Michaels and Austin?
Yes.
Okay, so the very next night is when they debuted new belts. They had the Big Eagle to replace the Winged Eagle world title, and they had the Oval Attitude Era Championship for the Intercontinental title to replace the classic design that had been around since the 80s. and with the purple strap and everything. I thought that was so cool. So I went back and I watched that episode of Raw just to see when they first revealed these titles. And the very first segment on that Raw is just Vince McMahon comes down to the ring. He's got the Big Eagle Championship on his shoulder. He gets in the ring. He cuts a promo. He introduces Stone Cold, who comes down to the ring holding the Winged Eagle belt. Stone Cold gets in the ring, doesn't say anything. He looks at the belt that McMahon has. He throws down the Winged Eagle belt and just grabs the Big Eagle belt, and then he starts posing on the posts. And then they have a little back and forth promo where Austin, McMahon's like, you're going to have to do what I say. And Austin's like, no. And then he gives him a stunner. And I was like, I tried to imagine this happening in today's modern WWE. And I'm like, this would be so fucking boring if they did it today. And I don't know why, because it's the most entertaining thing ever just to watch that first segment. There's no podium with the title under a curtain or whatever. It's just like Vince McMahon comes out with the belt, and then here's this legendary Winged Eagle title that they're just gonna do away with, and they're on to the next thing. And it's the Attitude Era. They don't care. They're doing their own thing. I thought that was so interesting, so entertaining. So I've thought about maybe making that sort of a segment, but again, it may be nostalgia goggles, those rose-tinted nostalgia goggles that we like to wear. Nonetheless, I have a better time watching the old stuff than the new stuff. And what we're going to be doing here on Wrestling with Power, we've done it before, a segment, This Day in Wrestling History, but I think that we should do it every episode where we look at this week in wrestling history, and we pick out one or two topics to talk about if there are two topics big enough. But the biggest thing to happen this week in wrestling history, and obviously Slick Vic is our resident historian. He's going to be bringing us this week in wrestling history right now.
Well, I've got this day in wrestling history for this week's segment.
Yeah.
Now, we have a soundbite that we like to play. One of our favorites.
Uh-oh.
He's a former world champion. He's he likes to break people's backs and make them humble. And at the time, he was feuding with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And what happened on this day in 1987? They got busted while traveling together.
Yeah.
They were pulled over by the cops. There was drugs. There was alcohol. There was maybe some alcohol found, I believe, and they were like, "Wait a minute, why are they traveling together? Don't they hate each other?" Kayfabe was gone. They both got fired, but they both ended up getting hired back not too long later, anyways. But yeah, do you remember hearing about this? I know.
No.
I know. Not at the time.
I wasn't born.
Right. But I'm saying, have you heard the story?
I think I've heard the story, and I always think of, if you can imagine that scene in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas where they're riding down the highway in the desert and they've got the suitcase full of drugs, or the briefcase full of drugs, but replace them two with the Iron Sheik and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. That's what always comes to mind. And I'm sure it was probably exactly like that.
Especially with some people say about the Sheik's love from A to the Z. I miss you, Sheiky. And your Twitter.
His Twitter was great. Anyway. I don't know if that was him behind the Twitter, but it was great.
Don't shatter that illusion, man. It was definitely him typing up every character.
All caps.
Always telling somebody to go fuck themselves.
It would be like Hulk Hogan's birthday, and he'd tweet, "Happy birthday to everybody except for that fuck Hulk Hogan." That piece of shit.
All right. So, in other wrestling news, in 1996. Here, I saw this live. We had an In Your House event. It was called In Your House Beware of Dog. Took place in somewhere in South Carolina. And the first match went off, and then there was nothing for a couple hours because the power went out of the arena. There was a big thunderstorm that day. So we were confused. We staring at like I think it was just like, it was not even like a scrambled screen. It was like a blue screen saying like stand by or something. And yeah, we
You
called the
remember
cable
watching
company.
this live?
Oh yeah, 100%. I watched it live.
How long
Yeah.
did you sit there while it was on a blue screen?
We sat there the whole time. We didn't change the channel. Somebody watching with us got on the phone to try to call the cable company because we thought it was just, unique to us.
Yeah.
But no, it was everybody. But then the power comes back on just before the main event. The main event was Shawn Michaels and the British Bulldog that night for the world title. But then, as like a kind of we're sorry this happened. 2 days later, they did Beware of Dog 2, where they just basically redid the matches that ended up being dark matches, literally dark matches, because they were wrestling in the dark.
So so live, the people that were there live, the lights were off in the arena
Yeah.
and they still wrestled?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't pitch dark, but there was,
Okay.
there was still some emergency lighting probably.
Yeah.
You can look up pictures. I'm sure if you Google In Your House Beware of Dog, you'll find pictures of what the wrestlers were looking like. 'Cause they did show some.
We're going to have to check that out. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I believe when Beware of Dog 2 came out, they did show some other recordings of the matches. But yeah, 2 days later, they did a kind of like a do-over to make up for the fans that ordered it on pay-per-view. They didn't charge you for it. So
Wow.
yeah, that was a thing,
Okay.
man.
I'm looking at some of the pictures here. This one, the lights aren't out, but there's one where it looks like I can't tell who's wrestling. The quality is so bad, but it's definitely dark.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at it myself. Yeah.
It's got last match in your house, and there you can't see anything. Wow.
All right. Well,
Slick Vic.
That was this week's this day in wrestling history.
That was this day in wrestling history. When I came up with the idea to do this every week, it's a very fun segment. It makes for some good discussion looking back on the past. But if we do this week in wrestling history, that gives us 7 days to pull just whatever the biggest thing is from the past 7 days. We can do it that way every week. Good shit. And I was looking at the old calendar. And today is Tuesday the 26th. 1 week ago today, we were supposed to do our show, and we didn't. We planned on postponing it till Wednesday. That didn't happen. Thursday didn't happen. Horseman business. So we skipped a week. Sue us. Actually, don't sue us because we don't get paid for this. But 1 week ago today was May the 19th.
Oh, yes.
And you know what happened on May the 19th, don't you, Slick Vic?
I sure do.
They had this storyline. This was, I guess, during the ruthless aggression era of WWE, where they were still sort of attitude, but, kind of toning it down a little bit here and there some places. This was not toned down. This was the dumbest, craziest storyline they ever had. It's when Kane was sporting his half mask with the mouth cut out, which was really cool. But he was in a feud with Triple H, and they did the whole May 19th thing where anytime anybody mentioned May 19th, Kane would kill him. There's a picture of Shawn Michaels. I think he put a shirt over top of was it a referee or was it just some jabroni?
I believe it was Rob Conway.
Rob Conway. He put a shirt over Rob Conway that said May 19th on the back and was hiding behind him. and
Yeah.
Kane slaughters Rob Conway for this May 19th. So, like, this was this whole big thing, May 19th. What does it mean? Apparently, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Slick Vic, I remember this fairly well. There was apparently a girl named Katie Vick, and it was Kane's girlfriend. Was it Kane's girlfriend? Okay.
Yeah.
So Kane's girlfriend, and they're cruising down the highway, and they get in a car crash, and she dies. And so that happened on May 19th, allegedly, that Katie Vick died in this car crash with Kane. And so this was the storyline. And then they have this promo. No. What's that?
No, you're mixing it up. The May 19th is the day his parents died, wasn't it? The day the funeral parlor burned down.
I thought it was the Katie Vick thing because they have the promo with Triple H where he crawls into the casket with like the dead body and is acting like he's humping the dead body, and he's got the Kane mask on. Am I wrong about that? Okay, so let me see. May 19th, WWE in the Bizarre Kane storyline. This is from denofgeek.com. Ridiculous storylines, stories building towards, okay, Taboo Tuesday was going on. There's some things going on with Big Show. This was around WrestleMania 22. May 19th was the release date of See No Evil, a WWE Studios horror release about to hit theaters. That was starring Kane, by the way.
Yep. I was going to ask if you saw that movie.
I've never seen it. I'm afraid to watch it. I think it'll be terrible.
I like bad movies sometimes.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah, the storyline eventually revealed that May 19th represented the date Kane's family died in the fire that shaped his backstory. However, WWE later complicated the angle even further by introducing an imposter Kane during the short-lived feud.
What was the Katie Vick thing?
That was just, the feud revolving around Kane and Triple H when that time came. So this is 2006. Okay. May 19th is 2006. Triple H and Kane is...
I was seriously this entire time believing that May 19th was the Katie Vick story, like when Katie Vick had died.
Yeah, that was 2 years prior, or 4 years prior, 2002. Because God. Kane was still wearing the mask during the Katie Vick stuff, but when See No Evil came out, Kane was no longer wearing the mask.
Yeah. Well, he was wearing the half mask. It was 2002, right?
Yeah, but in 2006 he was completely unmasked.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I am getting my wires crossed. See, this is why we have our resident historian, Slick Vic, here. So May 19th was just the day that his parents died. That's kind of anticlimactic. I liked my version better.
I like to forget that version happened. Yeah. That is like the worst.
Triple H crawls into the casket.
Yeah. That is literally like one of the worst things, one of the worst episodes of Raw ever.
Oh, I don't know. I would rather watch that than any episode of Raw these days.
Oh man, that is, oh god, I don't even want to talk about it. It's embarrassing.
I mean, that doesn't mean that you want to bang a dead chick or anything. It's just, it was a terrible storyline, but still, it was hilarious. It was just as crazy. Well, it was probably crazier than Mae Young giving birth to a hand, getting pregnant by Mark Henry and giving birth to a hand, but still, it was good shit, pal.
Far from good shit, but okay.
Vic doesn't approve. He would rather watch, I don't know what he'd rather watch. Definitely against the Katie Vick stuff. Slick Katie Vick. She probably wasn't very slick. She was dead. All right, we're moving on. That was this week in wrestling history. All we got left is the main event of the evening, Slick Vic's picks for Clash in Paris. Clash in Paris is this Sunday, not Saturday. It's this Sunday, May the 31st, and I don't know what time it starts here in the States, but it's probably going to be in the middle of the day sometime.
Yep.
And we have, what is it, like 5 matches on the card, Slick Vic?
Yep.
5 matches on the card that have been made over the past several weeks so far. I don't anticipate any more to be added to this. This is how many matches a normal pay-per-view would have, and this is a normal pay-per-view, I guess. All right, well, let's take a look. Let's see what Slick Vic's picks are, if we could get some appropriate music going here. I just wanted to end it with that, sorry. Okay, WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes, the champion, versus Gunther.
Oh man, see, this match was one of the hardest ones to predict for me, but I gotta go with Gunther. It's either okay. Look, my pick is Gunther, but if I have a like a like a wild card or something to say other than that finish is some kind of a screwy finish where nobody wins or there's no title change. Maybe Gunther wins by DQ, so he doesn't win the belt. But I predict right now Gunther winning the match.
Yeah. I don't think that's a bad pick. I agree with that pick, unless for some reason Sami Zayn, because of recent happenings on SmackDown, costs Gunther the match. Maybe he comes out and gets involved. I don't know if he beats up Gunther or if he beats up Cody, but it causes a disqualification, which means no title change. And then going forward. But yeah, I think if it's clean, it's got to be Gunther, right?
I am predicting Gunther to win either clean or dirty.
Okay. WWE Women's Championship, Rhea Ripley, the champion, versus Jade Cargill.
I'm going with mommy. Rhea Ripley.
So the title is going to stay with Rhea Ripley. All right.
Yeah. It's funny. I chose the opposite for WrestleMania, and it bit me in the ass. I believe that was the only match I did not call correctly.
Well, let's hope it doesn't bite you in the ass this time. I'm all for that result. Next up, Oba Femi versus Brock Lesnar. Rematch from WrestleMania that none of us saw coming.
Actually, that was probably more Vince McMahon, but
I think I think your noise cancellation fucking completely shot you down on that one, Slick Vic.
Well, I'm predicting this is going to be a trilogy. So that's why I'm saying Brock goes over here, Oba goes over in the rubber match. So Brock Lesnar over Oba Femi in Italy.
All right. Good call. I think that you're right about that, and I'll take it a step further. I think that Brock Lesnar is actually going to resort to some cheap tactics to win this one. I think he's going to realize. I think he's going to realize that he can't put Oba down with 3 or 4 F5s, and he's going to somehow resort to some cheap tactics. Either way, it'll be an interesting watch, and probably, at least for me, my most anticipated match of this night. Other than the world title, I'll give it to the world title match. I'm kind of excited to see where that goes because it's tribal combat, the World Heavyweight Championship. Roman Reigns, the champion, versus Jacob Fatu. Put your ones to the sky.
The OTC, Roman Reigns is going over.
All right. So you think that Roman is going to go over? He's going to win Tribal Combat. He's going to remain the Tribal Chief and the World Heavyweight Champion. Clean or other?
Well, it's tribal combat, so anything goes, right?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, I think the Usos will get involved. Maybe the last time they didn't get. Did they get involved last time? I don't think they did.
In the
Can't remember now.
Backlash event?
Yeah,
I don't think so. I don't remember him getting involved.
So there's a good chance the Usos get involved. There's a good chance LA Knight gets involved. So maybe even Solo. Isn't Solo trying to win Jacob Fatu's affection back?
I think so, yeah.
And then Royce Keys can even come out. Just have a big old overbooked finish.
Okay. I would honestly, I've agreed with you up until this point. If these were my picks, which they're not, I would say Jacob Fatu to win this one.
Okay. You chose him for Backlash.
I would say the surprise win, Jacob Fatu to win this one. I did choose him for Backlash. But, fuck the Backlash. All right. And the Women's Intercontinental Championship, Becky Lynch, the champion, defends against Sol Ruca.
I think it's Sol Ruca's time. I was worried they were going to put the belt on her at Saturday night's main event. Turns out I don't even think that was for a title, but it was a DQ finish anyways. But I think this time Sol finally hits that clean Soul Snatcher, pins Becky 1, 2, 3.
All right, I think that's a fair assessment, Slick Vic. I think that I've been vocal about it for a while that they need to get the title away from Becky. She doesn't need it. She's already proven that she's brought as much to it as she can. And honestly, on anyone else's shoulder, it's not going to be the same as with Becky Lynch unless they can rise to the level of Becky Lynch. And there's very few people that can do that. So I think they've sort of overbooked the Intercontinental scene lately. And honestly, I wish they would have left it on AJ Lee. If they had left it on AJ Lee and we were fast forwarding to now, where it was AJ Lee versus Sol Ruca, yeah, you're not getting a heel versus a baby face, but you're still getting AJ Lee, coming out on top in this Intercontinental thing, in this feud with Becky that had been going on for a year. And she won against Becky, and she continues to defend the title. Maybe she defends it at Backlash, and now at Clash in Italy, she loses it to Sol Ruca, up-and-comer. I think that would have been the better way to go. Why they didn't go that way, I'm not sure. But I agree with you. I think that, Sol Ruca, why not? She just got here, but go ahead and give her the push. She's good. She's only botched a couple of Soul Snatchers, so maybe she'll improve. I don't know. I like her, though. I'm all on board for that. And those are your picks. Slick Vic's picks for Clash in Italy. Let's take a look at them here real quick as we go over them. WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes versus Gunther. Slick Vic picks Gunther to win that match. Whether he wins the title or not, who knows? But Slick Vic picks him to win. WWE Women's Championship, Rhea Ripley to retain against Jade Cargill. Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar to go over in what will eventually be a three-piece, where Oba will go over in the end. World Heavyweight Championship, Tribal Combat, Roman Reigns the champion to retain against Jacob Fatu. And the Women's Intercontinental title, Becky Lynch the champion, will lose the belt against Sol Ruca. Those are your Slick Vic's picks for this evening. And Vic, we're going to hit the gong again because it's time to get the hell out of here. What a show. We missed a week. We had a lot to catch up on, but hopefully we did justice for all of our listeners out there. Just want to remind everybody that we are on YouTube, youtube.com/@wrestlingwithpower, where you can find all of our episodes that are put up every week. You can watch, you can listen, you can comment, you can do whatever you want. Also on Spotify, just search up Wrestling with Power. You're going to find us there. Unmistakably us, with the exclusive artwork every week, new artwork going up, depending on the episode and what we talk about. It's good shit, pal. Brad Buffer, he's the man. And right here on Facebook, where we are live every Tuesday, unless otherwise noted, or unless we just don't feel like it and we got horseman business, where we will be live roughly around 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to bring you the week's episode live before we actually get it edited down and put up on YouTube and Spotify. You can join in the chat, in the conversation. You can post in the comments. You can interact with us right here live. But Slick Vic, it's been a good one. Everybody out there, stay powerful. And I'm going to let Slick Vic play us out here.
Well, since I didn't get to say this last week, I just want you all to, I just want to wish you all the best. 2 times the best in your future endeavors.